Welcome, and thank you for joining our Italy excursion. Today we'll be exploring the world of Italian desserts, and most importantly, what makes them so delicious and so decadent. But before I get to that, I want to share with you a little bit about who we are. To start with, my name is Carol Cottrell, and I'm the Executive Director for Laubach Literacy New Brunswick. We are an adult literacy nonprofit with affiliated councils in St. George, St. John, Fredericton, North Carleton, Moncton, Miramichi, and Bathurst. We help adults ages 16 to 106 improve their literacy and essential skills. We particularly focus on helping people improve their reading, writing, and math skills, and we can help people get ready to take a GED course or read to their grandchildren. We work one-on-one with each learner to identify their goal and help them reach it. If we don't have a counsel in your area, we can also help you through a new digital learning program that runs on your smartphone, on a tablet, or on a computer. The Italian excursion is the first in a series of virtual excursions we are offering in conjunction with our Tour of the Mediterranean virtual gala event. The gala will be held on November 19th. Tickets for the event are still available and include a meal kit that you can either pick up or have delivered to you if you live in the Moncton area. It includes everything you need for a 5-course meal featuring tastes from Spain, Greece, France, Morocco, and Italy. It has been prepared for us by our gala partner, NBCC Moncton. I will talk a little bit about the menu as it does pertain to tonight's event. The virtual gala has 2 menu options, either chicken or vegetarian. There are some similarities between the two, but also some differences. The first difference is the tapas. The meat option includes assorted cured sausages, marinated olives, cauliflower pepinillos, sun-dried plum tomatoes, and Kalamata olive tapenade, served with roasted crostinis. If you opt for the vegetarian meal, you will have marinated mushrooms, olives, cauliflower pepinillos, sun-dried plum tomatoes, hummus, and Kalamata olive tapenade served on toasted crostinis. Both meal options include an amazing Greek salad with citrus oregano dressing. The soup course offers either a beef-based classic French onion soup or a vegetarian option of classic roasted tomato soup with fresh herbs. The big difference, of course, is between the 2 main entrees. You have the option of the Moroccan chicken tagine, which includes marinated chicken, preserved lemons with fresh market vegetables, served with a roasted pine nut couscous. Or the vegetarian option, which includes roasted root vegetables, chickpeas, and preserved lemons, served with sun-dried apricot couscous. To end it off, you will enjoy a Tiramisu Italiano, which is the inspiration for tonight's discussion. Ah, the amazing tiramisu. The sweet cream, espresso-soaked ladyfingers, and cocoa. It's like a taste of heaven. But before I speak in particular about tiramisu, let's talk a little bit about Italian desserts in general. Rich Italian dessert recipes are known around the world, and every chef will have their favorite. Decadent and flavorful, Italian desserts have it all. They also have a long history. Most of us think that desserts were devised for our pleasure, and if we have a good meal, we must end our meal with a luscious dessert. The Italians have traditionally reserved these luscious desserts for only special times of the year, a little like we may consider shortbread a staple of our Christmas traditions. Typically, an Italian meal would be finished with a little fresh fruit or a piece of robust cheese. This probably comes from a time when it was hard to get sugar, but even today, they use much less sugar in their recipes than we do in North America. So if not for the sugar, what makes Italian dessert so decadent? Hint, it's all about the fresh ingredients and the cheese. Let's look first at a traditional Tuscan dessert. Originating in Florence is zucotto. It's basically a sponge cake dome filled with whipped cream and covered in chocolate. Chocolate has been layered with cream and espresso in the Torino region of Italy since 1763. You can put all sorts of delights into that whipped cream. Nuts, fruits, even more chocolate. The panforte recipe is a traditional dessert with a spicy flavor containing fruits and nuts. It's a little like a fruitcake. This recipe originated in the Tuscany region. After it was baked, the cake was then used as a payment for taxes to the monks. It's very similar to panettone, a sweetbread made at Christmas time. Biscotti, which is now a staple at most cafes, also originated around this time, first created in the city of Prato. Biscotti is a twice-baked Italian cookie whose hard texture makes it perfect for dipping in hot beverages like coffee or cocoa. When making from scratch, you can make your biscotti plain or add in things like sliced almonds, pistachios, dried cranberries, or, yes, even chocolate. Italian dessert recipes are generally broken down into two groups: the ancient or oldest of the sweets that were derived from bread recipes, and then later the more modern recipes when sugar became plentiful. These Italian desserts include cheesecake, panna cotta, cannoli, and Italian cream puffs. As sugar became more affordable to home cooks, a new range of Italian dessert recipes appeared, such as rum cake and cassata cream cake, and tiramisu. These old-fashioned cakes were made with ricotta or mascarpone cheeses. So one question that is important to answer up front: mascarpone versus ricotta. Can they be substituted for one another? Yes and no. I use ricotta in more of my savory dishes, like for a sausage and spinach cannelloni. But many sweet dessert recipes may also call for ricotta, though it's likely they may also require a little more cream or sugar. Or they may suggest a mix of mascarpone and ricotta, or ricotta and something like a traditional Philadelphia cream cheese. One of the reasons some recipes have been adapted to use ricotta over mascarpone is that mascarpone wasn't that easy to find at your local grocer. That has changed. You can find it much more easily nowadays at Sobeys, Superstore, or your local IGA. So I always recommend going with the cheese your recipe suggests. You can also make your own mascarpone style cheese, which is a good workaround if you really can't find it. I'm going to leave a link to a simple recipe and video on our Facebook page. I have a favorite baked cheesecake recipe from Weight Watchers. It's very easy. It requires both ricotta and low-fat Philadelphia cream cheese. When I'm making it for special occasions, and not just for my family, I will substitute the Philadelphia cream cheese with mascarpone. Now that I've said that, I should talk about what makes mascarpone so special. It is an ivory-colored, exceptionally smooth, and easily spreadable fresh cream cheese. The flavor is milky and slightly sweet. The rich, buttery texture comes from the high butterfat content, up to 75%. Mascarpone costs more than domestic cream cheese, although some US brands producing it in the Italian style are less expensive than, of course, the imported ones. Mascarpone has at least twice as much fat as American cream cheese, which gives it a richer, almost melt-in-your-mouth quality. You can use the two interchangeably, but you should expect differences in both flavor and texture. American cream cheeses tend to be firmer with a tangier flavor. Some dessert recipes will call for portions of each. Mascarpone can be added to both sweet and savory dishes, providing a rich and creamy element. Use it instead of whipped cream to top a bowl of fruit, or as a frosting for cakes and cupcakes. You can bake it into a cheesecake or swap it for sour cream and banana bread or muffins. There is nothing I like better in the summertime than a dollop of fresh mascarpone on top of my summer strawberries. That is, if I'm not using the mascarpone for my tiramisu. I've mentioned a lot of desserts, but undoubtedly one of the most popular remains tiramisu. Most chefs will have their favorite recipe, their take on the tradition. Italian dessert is like all Italian cuisine with one very distinct rule: to create dishes that provide pleasure above all else. My first experience of tiramisu was actually on my first date with my husband 27 years ago at a small Italian cafe in Winnipeg, Manitoba. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Well, the way to my heart was definitely through dessert. And tiramisu is still how we celebrate our anniversary each year. So what is tiramisu? It's an elegant and rich layered Italian dessert made with delicate ladyfinger cookies, espresso, mascarpone cheese, eggs, sugar, and cocoa powder. Through the grouping of these diverse ingredients, an intense yet refined dish emerges. The name itself, tiramisu, means pick-me-up in Italian, most likely referring to the two caffeinated ingredients that are present in the dish, espresso and cocoa. Many recipes will also add in liqueurs, in addition to or instead of other ingredients. One of my favorites is to replace the espresso with Kahlua. Traditional tiramisu begins with the Savoiardi ladyfingers. Light and delicate, these sweet sponge cake biscuits have a long-standing heritage in Italian cuisine and were developed at the court of the Duchy of Savoy during the 15th century to welcome a visit from the King of France. Savoiardi ladyfingers were given their name when they were granted the designation of official court biscuit. Let's watch this short video on how to make your own simple tiramisu at home. I'll be sharing the website link so you can look it up on your own later. They make it look so easy. Tiramisu's popularity over the last 3 decades have prompted cooks to adapt the essential ingredients used in the dish for a number of recipes, such as cakes, ice creams, cheesecakes, and puddings. Today, a number of tiramisu variations are available. This shows a salted caramel chocolate tiramisu prepared with creamy sweet Italian cheeses. I got ahead of myself there. Both ricotta and mascarpone, bittersweet chocolate, rich and buttery caramel mousse. This has a hint of sea salt. With 2 types of mousse involved, this will take you a little longer to make than the tiramisu recipe in the video, and it is suggested that you make this dessert a day before you hope to serve it so that the mousse can set and be firm when you slice through it. If you are looking for a more seasonal dessert offering, you may want to try pumpkin tiramisu. For this recipe, you substitute the chocolate and the espresso with layers of amaretto-soaked ladyfingers, crumbled biscotti, and rich creamy filling. You create the filling by beating cream and sugar until stiff peaks form, and then folding in the mascarpone, pumpkin filling, and pumpkin spice. You beat it again until it's all smooth. If you're looking for any of these recipes or any great Italian recipes, let me direct you to my favorite site, delalo.com. That's DELALLO.com. And I want to thank them too for allowing us to use their video in this presentation. They have a great recipe and a blog that if you like Italian cooking, you're going to want to check out. That concludes tonight's excursion into Italy's amazing desserts. I'm around for a few more minutes and will encourage you to include any questions you may have in the chat. I will do my best to answer them. While you do that, I'm going to thank our sponsors. TD Bank, who is the title sponsor of our Tour of the Mediterranean event. McGinnis Cooper, who is our Morocco level sponsor and is the host for our Morocco excursion on November 16th. The Chartered Professional Accountants of New Brunswick, who have sponsored the beverages for our virtual gala event. Northland Design Studio, Inc., who is our Spain level sponsor and is host for the Spain excursion on November 5th. They've also provided our insulated tote bags, which will be used for the meal kits. BD, Strategic Planning and Communications, our Italy level sponsor, and our host for tonight's excursion. And finally, our dinner partner, last but not least, NBCC Moncton. Thank you. Please share your questions.